When we hear the word gangs, we often think of violence, thugs and yobs. We forget about the victims within the gangs, but recent media studies have shown that young women are often subjected to violence, abuse and even rape. This is an issue the police take very seriously. I spoke to Inspector Alan Davies, whose project, Growing Against Gangs and Violence, uses real-life case studies to show the dangers of gang life. Why do girls join gangs?
The first thing I'd say about girls joining gangs is perhaps that they don't actually join gangs. That their role in a gang they have an important role to play in gangs, but it's not as an equal. It's not on equal terms with the boys. They're second-class citizens. They're used for specific functions, namely holding the weapons, hiding the drugs, and quite worryingly, they're often used as sex tools by gang members. They are used, abused, passed around, that they're expected to have sex with multiple gang members, and unfortunately some of this sex isn't consensual, and if it's not consensual, it's rape.
So what do you do if you find yourself in this situation? How do you cope and how do you get out? I spoke with somebody who knew all the answers to these questions. I want to begin by asking you, why was it that you joined a gang in the first place? What led you to do that?
I rebelled, basically. So I left home at the age of 13 and just moved around on the street with certain people. Started smoking cannabis and I just got deeper and deeper and deeper into it. From the age of say 13 to 38 when it all stopped, eventually, through the whole of my ordeal, I've been kidnapped, I've been tortured, I've been raped, I've gone through domestic violence, abuse, physically, emotionally. So where I was a perpetrator, I also became a victim as well.
There is an aspiration amongst young girls to gain status by being with gang-involved boys, and if that means performing sex acts with them and being willing to be passed around their friends, then that's happening. As I said, it's not always consensual, but that's where the concern is, and girls are being manipulated and used and abused.
No issues can be truly solved without the help of significant government funding. This is something that Lynn Featherston was able to explain to me in more depth. Could we please begin with you explaining what the new £1.2 million of government funding is going to go towards?
The money will be going towards 13 young people's advocates who are going to work with girls who've experienced exploitation and violence and possibly rape in gangs. I don't think people realise how horrific the experiences are for these girls, and they will be experts and specially trained in working with young people who have experienced such horrific stuff. But their job is to work with them and then also signpost them to the services that are available locally to support them.
What do you think of this step by the government? Do you think it's a worthwhile employment of their funds?
It's a start. We've been crying out in our communities about this issue for a long time, and this has come after the riots. So it's obviously something that they already knew was happening, but obviously didn't feel that there was a need for it, but I just thank God that they're beginning to open their eyes, and it's a beginning.
What was the turning point, would you say, throughout all of that, where you decided, I have to get out, I can't continue to live this way?
My first point was maybe if I kill myself, but then again, as bad as I was too coward to do that. So I put myself in positions where somebody may just take my life. Yes, gunshots flew past my head, never touched me, but then that didn't work either. What I just told you was just a skim of what I went through, So for me, there was one thing that I didn't go back to, and it was my foundation. And I just said, well, I've got to give that a chance and see what happens. And 2004, April the 25th, I gave my life to God. And yes. From that was my turning point. And through faith, I am where I am today, a renewed and more peaceful and calm and collective person, and now able to use the experience that I went through to help other young people that are going through what I went through today.
If you are in a gang or have friends that are in a gang and you recognise some of the situations mentioned, then please do not hesitate to get in touch with many of the organisations that are there to help.